Hello, internet world. Sorry, I was just a couple minutes late today. Monday problems. Today is another edition of Positive and Productive. It's like that classic question of what came first, the chicken or the egg? Do you need to be positive to be productive, or does productivity lead to positivity? Answer is I have no idea. Pay attention, see what works for you. um, But today we're talking about starting small. So before I begin, I just want to give you an example of this scenario. So imagine with me, you had a picnic to go to, so you skipped lunch, but the picnic's at 3. So it's a little later than you would normally eat. And by the time you get there, you're feeling famished. You're so hungry. And you see all of your favorite things spread out before you. What happens? Yup. That whole thing with my eyes are bigger than my stomach and you have a plate packed full. So I imagine we're all pretty familiar with that. Don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. If you're starving, you're going to end up piling on more food than you could possibly eat or maybe need to be eating. I only use that as an example. I'm going to posit this. We are all hungry for purpose and success. It's something about the human condition. No matter how much of it you have, you're hungry for more. So if we're all hungry for purpose or success, what happens? We fill our plates with much more than we need. So today's positive and productive tip is about recognizing that, accepting it, and moving on to do something about it. So my suggestion is that you start small. What does that mean? Well, let's talk about different areas of our lives. If I want to get in shape, right? I'm hungry for success in fitness, whatever that looks like for each of us. I might take on a big goal. And that doesn't mean big goals don't serve a purpose. They should be far down the road, right? So if my big goal is, I'm going to run a half marathon. Well, if I start training for a half marathon today, I'm not going to feel very positive, and I might not even be that productive, because a lot of times when we hit like setbacks or failure, it saps away our resolve and doesn't make us feel very positive and takes away our opportunity to be productive. I guess if you were here last week, we talked about how negative feelings can really just drain your energy. So one way you can create positive feelings is to chunk that goal into something much smaller. Well, if I want to run a half marathon, I should probably first be able to run 6 miles. And if I want to run 6 miles to get me towards the goal of a half marathon, I should probably make sure I can run 3 miles. And if I haven't been running at all, before I even talk about running 3 miles, I better be able to get to 1 mile. Which, shameless plug, Couch to 5K is a great way, whether you've never ran or have been running, to up your mileage and your volume. So that's a way to start, and that's a specific strategy for starting small. What this looks like for me is, let me use the example of push-ups, right? Like, oh man, I'm so fit, I lift weights, like I'm a nationally ranked weightlifter, but I couldn't do 20 push-ups chest to floor without stopping, and that's a little embarrassing sometimes. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do push-ups every single day. I'll do 10 push-ups every day, and then I'll be able to do 20 in no time. But you know what happens? Some days I don't feel like doing 10 push-ups, and I don't have time to do 10 push-ups. And then I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'm done. I'm not going to do it anymore. So the lack of starting small turned me off. We can talk about it in the realm of diet, right? Oh, I'm going to eat healthy foods four times a day. I'm going to stick to this regimen. Well, what happens? That goal is too big. It's too lofty. I'm hungry for success. So of course I went for a big goal. But the other side of that is, as soon as I miss a meal or mess up, I'm like, you know what? Diet's blown. I'm just going to eat whatever I want for today, or maybe the weekend. And then when Monday comes, I'll start again. So that's another example of how it's a fallacy. When you have too big of goals, in a way, you set yourself up for failure. What we want to do is the opposite. Really small goals that build success. And as you feel successful, you feel the momentum and the motivation, and those goals can get bigger and bigger and snowball down the road into that really great, shiny thing that you're looking forward to. It's true for work also. Wait, I'm going to be really honest. You see this pile of things right here? This is like personal life to do items and like work. I keep them separate. What has Lisa been neglecting lately? It's pretty obvious. Now, when I look at that whole pile, you know why I've been neglecting it? Because that's like a giant plate that I can't consume in one sitting. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do there. I can't do that. So that goal is too big. Now, if I were to take it and spread it across my desk and it'd be in little ones, I could be like, you know what, I'm going to do that one today, that one tomorrow. It would be more palatable. I'd be able to handle it. So that's just another example of starting small. We have lofty goals, which are great. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But the problem is when our goal is bigger than the time or the energy we have to do it, it's going to make it more difficult to engage with. It's going to be harder to be productive and definitely more difficult to stay positive. Now that makes sense. I'm sure you've experienced it. But if you want the research, there's this guy, Bo Lotto, like Beau, and then Lotto, Lotto. And I'm going to mess up the actual terms that he uses, but the concepts are correct. And his work is interesting. Like, I highly recommend his book or any of his talks. But he talks about this thing called your like realm of significance. So if you imagine in your brain this huge bubble of everything you know, and then everything outside of what you know seems creative. The problem is getting that stuff on the outside to slowly get into the inside. Or another way to talk about it is the zone of proximal development, right? When things are too easy, we don't grow because it's just like autopilot. But when they're too hard and we hit frustration, we get like turned off from it. It's too much. It's too difficult. Shame stories come in. We're like just not going to engage with it. So the key is to create just enough friction. Like, it's not easy, but it's not so hard it makes you frustrated. That's our zone of proximal development. That's where we learn and do the best. So when you're setting goals for yourself, whether it's a daily goal, what you're going to get done today, or an achievement goal, some success you want to hit, or some milestone, lifestyle development, there's no real like accomplished, check it off, but I want to make this big change in my life. You need to find that zone of proximal development. Where is it enough change or enough to do that it's like new and engaging? Back to the Bo Lotto thing, it's taking that thing that's really far from your sphere of influence and bring really close so it can seep in, or it feels right and new enough to be exciting, but not so new that you're lost and confused and frustrated. That's it. Small chunks. Keep it simple. Keep it small, sweethearts. That's what we'll say today. But yeah, that's the tip of positive and productive for this week. Starting small. So I am going to tackle my personal to-do inbox. But my goal is to do it for 5 minutes. I don't care how much or how little I get done. I'm going to spend 5 minutes on it today. And tomorrow I'm going to probably spend 5 minutes again. And I say probably because I fall into the habit of saying, I'm going to do 5 minutes every single day. And then when I miss a day, I'm like, I'm a failure. I did it wrong. I know internally I'm not a failure, but that's kind of like where my negative thinking brain takes me. So I'm just going to do 5 minutes today. See how that goes, and maybe do 5 minutes again tomorrow until it gets done. I'm not going to worry about trying to do it all in one sitting. Hopefully, you found that either amusing or, more importantly, helpful. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out. If you enjoyed it, I will be back Monday with another positive and productive, or you can go to our YouTube channel where all the old ones are. We certainly have other things coming up. This week, there's a workout every weekday. And then Saturday, we have a bike ride or a hike. I plugged in the beginning, I'll plug it again. Couch to 5K. It's for all levels. And our virtual 5K is coming up in September where you can walk, jog, or run from wherever you are. So there's no better time than now to start. And if you're not able to make the class, or maybe you're not comfortable yet exercising with people in person outdoors, the Couch to 5K, if you look at the comments, John Westfall, he posts the homework. So you can really do it anywhere. And yeah, so we'll see you around. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Grace and Kathy. I'm glad that you found something from this. I certainly love starting my Mondays with a routine. So I appreciate you being here, and I will see you around. Bye, fam.